Yo, what up? This is Afavela here. I apologize, it's been a while since I made a video, but I know the topic is going to be kind of late. About half a month late. But I'm still going to cover it because I have a passion for safety. So you had another 2 mass shootings earlier this month. So you had the first one that happened in El Paso, Texas on August the 4th. And then 13 hours later you had another one that happened on the 4th in Dayton, Ohio. Alright, before I continue, for those who want more info about the shootings, so stuff like heroic stories, survivor stories, the friends and family of the deceased and whatnot, just go search it up on YouTube or Google it. I'm pretty sure there's a ton of info because these stories made national and international headlines. Alright, continue. So you had the first shooting that happened in El Paso at a Walmart. So you had this guy, his name is Patrick Cruces, who drove 10 hours from his home, lock and loaded, ready to shoot down the store, leaving 22 people dead and many others injured. And then you had the other one, 13 hours later, in Dayton, Ohio, you had a guy, his name was Connor Betts, who went up to a crowded line going into a bar and started shooting up the people there, leaving 9 people dead, and he was later killed by police in the shootout. Crazy stuff. And one of the victims included his sister. That's even crazier. I mean, there's something that I noticed. I noticed a little bit of a pattern of mass shooters that go kill. One of the victims that are included are some of their family members, like back in the Sandy Hook Elementary shooting back in 2012, where you had that Adam Lanza dude who killed his mom before going into the school and killing about 20 kids. I don't remember, but it was something along those lines. Same thing happened with the shooting in Dayton. The shooter killed his sister. So going back to the shooting in El Paso, Cruces had an anti-Hispanic manifesto because he was mad, he was tired that he was pissed off that whites were becoming a minority and Hispanics were becoming the majority in Texas. Which, if I'm not mistaken, one time I looked up the populations of both Texas and California, and the white and Hispanic populations have been pretty much about the same for the past 1 or 2 decades. And now the Hispanic population in California has been the majority ever since 2014, just by a little bit. And it seems like, I'm pretty sure that's was pissing him off, because the Hispanics are becoming a majority, like it happened in California back in 2014. So that's why he wrote his manifesto, and he did not specify whether the Hispanics were undocumented immigrants, whether they were on work or student visa, whether they were legal residents, naturalized citizens, or American-born citizens to immigrant parents. He did not care. He included all of them, and he didn't. It seems like he didn't care about religious or political affiliation. He didn't care. He loved them all the same. So that's why he went to that Walmart and just shot up the whole store without thinking who is getting shot. And you can see you can see it in one of the victims, because two to three of the diseased victims were white. And the killer part about it, 7 of the victims in that shooting were Mexican nationals, meaning they did not live on American soil. They just crossed the border to shop at Walmart and go back across the border. And the president of Mexico accused the U.S. for allowing his citizens to be killed in cold blood in American soil. Which, when you travel to the U.S., when people from different countries travel to the U.S., they're supposed to feel safe. They're supposed to feel safe traveling in the U.S. And that's not really the case, because you have other countries around the world issuing travel advisories for its citizens because of these 2 back-to-back shootings. It seems like these shootings are happening every week. And to Patrick Cruces, I know you're pissed the fuck off. But let me tell you this. Dude, human replacements and population shifts and replacements have been happening since the beginning of time, since the beginning of humanity. throughout human history. You can't avoid it. It's going to happen. It's bound to happen. Do you remember who the majority of the population was here in this land in the Western Hemisphere? You can find them all across reservations across America. The Native Americans. They at one point they were the original inhabitants. They were the indigenous population. At one point, if not, they were not the majority, they were the entire population of this Western Hemisphere before Europeans began settling in that area, outnumbering them really quick in a short amount of time. And let me say this, whites are not going to always be the majority in many regions around the world where they inhabit. That includes Texas. Whites have been the majority in Texas and California for a long time. Now that's changing. Can you try to avoid it? Maybe not. Unfortunately, you can't. And unfortunately, you took the wrong approach and you fucked up. You killed 20 people, 22 people. And now you're facing the death penalty. Harsh, huh? And from what I remember, he's facing 1 count of capital murder. I'm pretty sure there's 21 other murder charges and assault charges. And maybe some firearm possession. I don't know about that. But at least the murder and assault, attempted murder charges. If you don't get the death penalty, you're going to get life without parole automatically. And you're not going to get sent to some little prison or jail. No, they're going to send you to Big Daddy prison. Yep. And you better pray they put you on solitary confinement, because if they put you on Gen Pop, you're basically done. Because I'm pretty sure there's a large inmate population who's Hispanic. And they're going to get at you because they found out that your motive, it was a racist motive to go shoot the Walmart, because you knew El Paso is mostly Hispanic. You knew, so you went over there and did what you did. Now face the consequences. Sorry, bro, you're fucked. Take it like a man. Anyway, so you go to the to the other shooting 13 hours later in Dayton, Ohio. So you had this guy, Connor Betts. He had traumas he could not get over since high school. You know how it was like in 2013, 6 years ago. 6 years ago, it was so bad that they had to put his high school on lockdown because he made a threat. So bad they had to put it on lockdown for the safety of the students. And the worst part is they found, according to former classmates, this punk ass created a hit list and a rape list. So he created a hit list specified towards male students and a rape list for female students. How sick is that? That's the sickest thing I ever heard in my life to this day. I mean, the average rapist is not going to go have a list who he's going to go rape. He's going to wait for the best opportunity and for the seemingly most vulnerable victim to go attack. Because it is a crime of opportunity, just like child molestation. You have a pedophile who's going to wait for the best opportunity to go molest some kids. Because it is a crime of opportunity. And you killed it and this guy killed it. Because when you put a list, and he put that list out there, and those students saw their names on the list. And what do you think is going to happen if they see their name on the list? What do you think I would have done? Should I take extra precautions if my name was on any of those lists? Because I don't want to be harmed. I don't want to be hurt. You know, these students don't want to be hurt. They don't want to be killed. So they take extra precautions. You gave him a warning. That fucking idiot. And some of these shooters make threats online, like Cruz's, who they found that manifesto on his 8chan website account, and he made many threats. But I bet you if it was Middle Eastern extremist groups making threats like that, or mentioning just the word terrorism once, you're going to have the FBI putting surveillance on them in the snap of a finger, or you're going to have the FBI visiting not only his home, but also his entire family's relatives' homes when they got nothing to do with his attack or plot. Oh, but because it's a young white guy, oh, he's young, I don't want to ruin his life. I don't want to kill it. He's just playing around. And they sweep it under a fucking rug, which is dangerous. That's caused a lot of people to lose their lives, a lot of people to suffer the consequences. and not only them, but also the victims' friends and families. They're suffering the loss because of that carelessness. And another thing, if the races were reversed in that El Paso Walmart and the shooter was Hispanic, but the majority of the victims happened to be white, oh, that president number 45 would have went off on Twitter. That Twitter in chief would rushing to build that wall, to get that wall done.
Build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall.
Or even put an immigration ban on Mexicans or anybody south of the border. I'm pretty sure that's what they're gonna be saying all week, all for the rest of the year. But if it's a young white guy, oh, he's just playing around. They sweep it under the rug. And then you should see the video, how he was arrested. He was arrested the same way you would arrest somebody for possessing meth or crack. Oh, he's just chilling like a villain. They walk him over like nothing ever happened, like if nothing was serious. I mean, that's a very sick culture we have. Yeah, that's a very sick culture we have. And especially the gun culture. I understand it's the Second Amendment rights. You have the right to bear arms. But remember, there are parts of the First Amendment, especially the freedom of speech, that is somewhat limited. Especially when it comes to making threats or harassment. They should put some type of restriction on the Second Amendment as well, especially filtering out certain people that can't have guns, that are emotionally unstable, that snap for any little thing, or who has a history of violence. It doesn't matter whether they used or they did not use a weapon. I don't give a fuck, because it's violence, because maybe that person didn't use a weapon because he couldn't get his hands on one. But if a weapon was available, he or she probably would have used it to commit the crime, go hurt someone. And I saw one video, it's so sickening. I saw they were even selling a gun to a 13-year-old kid.
Take a ride with Jack, a 13-year-old boy from Virginia, who just got his braces off and usually spends Saturday morning playing basketball with his friends. But he's also a young actor, and today we hired him to help us make a point. We asked him to take a drive around town, with his mother, of course, since he's not nearly old enough to drive a car. We pass shops where he isn't old enough to work the register. Then we stop at the convenience store to see Jack try to buy beer. The cashier can't believe he even tried.
Literally, he looks like he's 12.
At the next store, Jack tries to buy cigarettes, with no luck.
I'm so sorry, I can't sell you a cigarette.
Later, he strikes out trying to buy Racy magazine.
Alright, okay, thank you.
And then lottery tickets.
Can I get a couple scratch-offs?
How old are you? You got your ID?
13.
You what?
I'm 13.
You can't get no scratch on me.
Okay. Alright, thank you.
It's laughable to everyone here, the idea that we'd ever expose a 13-year-old to the dangers of a lottery ticket. But then we arrive here, at the gun show.
It should shoot pretty good for you.
I'll take it.
Within minutes, the 13-year-old easily and legally bought a .22 caliber rifle from a private seller and walked away with it.
Oh, he can't buy weed, he can't buy alcohol, he can't buy cigarettes. Oh, but they allow him to go buy a gun. Or you got these kids, these teens who grab their parents' guns or grandparents' guns to go do what they're going to do. That is so sick. But anyways, if you're going to be out there, especially with your kids, be very careful out there, because these shootings have become unpredictable. Usually you can see someone, you can spot someone behaving oddly, they're being socially awkward, and you can kind of point them out, and you can just take extra precautions. But the shooting in Walmart just happened spontaneously. Once Cruises arrived at that Walmart parking lot, he began shooting immediately. He even killed one of the victims in the parking lot before going into the actual store and killing more people. And to the other idiot that bets, I mean, there's even a picture, you can even look it up, where him and some other fellow band member, they were playing some metal music. They were in the band and they were both had dresses on and masks. Yeah, that's some weird ass stuff, but it really has nothing to do with his actions of shooting up the street filled with bar goers. But anyways, all I'm gonna say is careful out there, guys. Peeps. This is getting fucking dangerous. Really dangerous. But anyways, be very careful out there. Oh, and then I forgot to mention this. And then you have, and once a lot of these mass shooters get arrested, they're quick to pull the mental illness card. When you got people that really have mental issues, mental health issues like schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. So no, there is no excuse for them to be pulling a mental illness card. I'm glad that Cruz is facing capital murder charges. He's going to face some real justice. Because that's what is needed. Because many times, in many cases, like the back in 2012 with the theater shooting in Aurora, Colorado with James Holmes. He was facing the death penalty, but because he was so quick to pull the mental illness card, they locked him away in a mental institution. What kind of shit is that? That's unfair. He should have gone to prison. Or if he were to get the death penalty, he should have got the punishment that he should have gotten, not gotten away being a coward that he was. But anyways, guys, I'll catch y'all later. Peace.
Yeah.